Hi, it's time for a quick short chime video. What we're looking at is a bass assembly from a NuTone model K32. This is a late 1940s, really early 1950s NuTone K32. I don't want to talk about the power unit assembly because I've done a video about that already. What I really wanted to talk about was the actual bass assembly itself, the rectangular black bass chassis piece that everything is attached to. A K32, like a lot of NuTone chimes, it's a two-note long tube chime. So you have one tube that would hang here, and the other tube would hang here, and then usually they offered as an option a third tube that was only decorative, just so you had three across in graduating lengths, and that's what this hanger is for right here. If you had the third tube, if you bought the third tube, you would hang it here. And one of the things I wanted to point out is this basic form, this black rectangular base, is a design that NuTone used all the way through the mid-2000s, and all of the two-note long tube chimes all used a base that was fundamentally the same as this one. And what you've got here, the interesting part on this one, what makes this worthy to be in a video, are these little knurled adjustment screws right here, and there's another one right over here. And what do these do? Well, since this little arm right here is the tube hanger, maybe if I turn it this way you can see it better. This arm is where the tube hangs. This little threaded knurled screw, if you turn it, it's kind of hard to show you, maybe we'll do it with the screwdriver. If you turn it, it moves the arm left and right, therefore closer or further away from where the plunger hits it. And the purpose of this is it allows you to adjust the distance of the outer part of the tube in relationship to the plunger to adjust for sound. So if it's too close, it doesn't ring well, you move it away. If it's too far away, the plunger doesn't strike it hard enough, you don't get much sound out of it. So it gave you some adjustment. Now, why is this interesting? Well, it's interesting because by the time you get to the middle or so 1950s, you don't see this exact base anymore that have these adjustment screws. You see a somewhat simpler base that's stamped out of steel, and as time goes on and you get more into the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, the thickness of the metal and so forth is lighter gauge. It's not as thick. That was probably to save money. And it's just stamped out, and these arms here where the tubes hang, these are just stamped out of the opening right here. When the thing is made, it's probably put in some kind of big press and it goes ka-chunk and stamps it out, and the arms are bent out, or they bend them out some other way, I don't know. But anyway, by the time you get to the mid-1950s all the way through the end of this type of design, this adjustment screw assembly is gone, and all you have are the bent out metal arms. Why is that interesting? Why does anybody care about that? It's because we repair a lot of basses, or I should say we repair a lot of chimes that use this type of bass. They have different kind of power assemblies and things, but same basic bass. And most of the time when they come in, these metal arms are not sticking out at a 90-degree angle to the bass itself. They're usually bent somewhat one way or the other, like this, to move them in and out, to move the tubes closer or further away from the plungers. And you might think, well, that's wrong, you're not supposed to bend it. But apparently you are. This sort of shows that there was an intention of allowing you to adjust the distance of the tube from the end of the plunger to adjust how it sounds. Now this is a very nice, elegant way to do it. You have this second arm that sticks out here, which is actually a piece of metal that goes through a slot in the base, and then it's riveted on. So there's two more parts. You've got the metal piece and the rivet, and then you've got the knurled screw here that fits into this, and it's got the little end on it here that pushes the arm back and forth. So it's 6 extra pieces, 3 on this side and 3 on this side, to have these screw adjustments. And plus somebody had to stand there and put the piece of metal through the slot and then run the machine to do the rivet and put the screw, so it's a lot more labor involved in doing all that. And I'm sure that's why at some point this was eliminated, because somebody at NuTone thought, well, we don't really need to do that anymore. The customer can just bend it back and forth and it doesn't cost us anything that way, and that's better. So it's just interesting. This is probably the only one of these that I can remember ever having seen that was done this way. It's actually a nice little detail in how the whole thing is designed, and I just thought I'd show you that. I had a customer recently, we did a bass for him. It was probably from the 60s. His arms were perfectly straight, and there was a little bit of discussion after the repair about on the left side here, the plunger didn't hit the tube quite as hard as it did on this side, and so on and so on. And I said, well, you know, pretty much what people do is you just bend the arm a little bit to move it a little bit closer. And he wasn't having any of that. He was pretty sure that the arm should be perfectly straight at a 90-degree angle. And I told him, well, I see that all the time. It seems to be kind of the way to go. And here we have sort of proof that that was kind of the intention in the first place. Because we're not talking about bending it a lot. We're only talking about bending it a smidge. So anyway, I just thought this would be kind of interesting for those of you who have a chime bass that's something like this. If you need to bend the arms, that's okay to do. Don't bend them a whole lot. You don't want to break them off, but you certainly can just bend them a little bit to make it sound the way you want it to sound. I hope you found this interesting, and perhaps for somebody it'll be helpful. If it is, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, because that always helps. There'll be a banner right here that shows you how to subscribe. Go to our YouTube homepage, click on the bell, and when you click on the bell, click on it to receive all notifications. And every time we post a new video, you'll get a notification and you can watch it. That's all for today. See you on the next video.